Alessandro Diamante, the ball on a string, and
Ole, ole. No, we definitely got the win there. I don't think this is as good as an intro as the first one, but here we are. We're going into the finals, the grand finals to be specific. Welcome back to All Out West, and it's finger guns all around. I'm so excited to purchase my grand final ticket earlier today. On Saturday, West United take on Casey Fields at Amy Park. Who's G'd up? Kelsey, give me an ooh.
I am fucking pumped. Let's get on to it.
Good ooh-ah! Ooh, ole, ole. Yeah, well, I don't know about you guys. I'm very pumped, but we've got to quickly go over that first leg. The first leg obviously sets up the second. Let's get into it. Over the last week, starting on the Tuesday, West United took on Melbourne Victory in a two-leg final series, with Melbourne Victory winning the first game 1-0 and West United utterly destroying the boys in blue 4-1 on the second game Saturday. Leading into this final series, Wallace says he wasn't too invested in this two-leg model. Would you like to elaborate on that, Wallace?
So just going into that a bit further, since I didn't really, I hadn't experienced a two-leg final series before, so I wasn't emotionally or ready to be invested in that kind of thing, and how much extra drama it brings to the game, which it really does. In the Adelaide and City thing, they drew the first game. It was make or break that last game. We had an aggregate battle for ours, which I think really added to it. I remember when we got our first goal, we're like, yeah, it's even playing field now. We can do this. And then Brimmer scored. No, we can't. We're jacked. And then we got another one. It's like, yeah, we're back in this. It added so much more excitement to a regular game, especially when we've played Victory 3 other times this season. This would have been our 5th. So it's added that extra level of enjoyment to it for me.
Well,
anyone else?
Well, as we're going to discuss later, guys, this worked in our favour. But what did you think of the finals model? Did it add a little bit of extra spice?
Kelsey.
Look, in the end, it worked for me. Look, I know I said last week, it was a bit weird having the home and away leg at the same ground for us, for our game specifically. But I think it made it far more enjoyable. Like, how much better was living the wave of that second game?
Look, we'll get onto it for, I suppose, when we quickly recap this first leg. But personally, I felt like there wasn't, everyone was waiting for Saturday. Everyone knew that that's when it was going to be make or break. So, Tuesday, it's like, all right, we sort of got a bit of leeway here, which sort of meant only one of the games still mattered more. But I digress. I thought it'd be more of a money grab. It wasn't. I think it was actually probably the best way to play. I still would only have the semis as two-leggers, because you'd hate to have to play 4 games to get into a grand final when a team might only have to play 2. So to make a granny, that'd be unfair. But I think it was an out-and-out success. And it was something we did used to have as well, that it came and went in the early days. So I think it was good to bring it back, especially now that it sort of also a signal that COVID's over and we're back to playing full seasons of football again. So,
and as I've said to a lot of people as well, it's the kind of feeling that you would get in a sort of championship or League 1, League 2 playoff final or playoff semi-final, my bad. But yeah, it's that sort of, I don't know, there's that knit, there's that grit, there's that determination from the fans, the players, everyone, that if you have gone down in the first leg, it's not over yet. You've still got something to play for. And look, it showed.
Yeah. I thought it just really worked, I think, in the context of everything. Because even the City-Adelaide game, that went to the extra time and everything like that. So it was that added drama and excitement there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes more to play for, and it also gives more fans the ability to watch the games as well. So I think it's a win-win for football fans.
I think it definitely, the 2 legs were great for both games as well, especially that cagey 0-0 draw from the first leg really let the from the first leg for the City and Adelaide semi-final, should I say. It really led to a great semi-final experience for everyone, and it's built up to this ultimate game that I think everyone's very keen on.
It's kind of the tension I think people refer to when they talk about wanting pro-rel in this country. I think it's that not exactly the same, but you know what I mean. It's that you want that added tension of possibly your club getting done, and that I know it's just that extra bit of. I'm going to use the word tension, but it's that extra bit of loss, that extra bit of you got to perform more. I think just a big fan.
Look, only downside to it, I think, is that maybe it was played midweek, but as I said, the model, I believe, is based on the championship and semi-finals over in England. And you look even in the League Cup semi-final, that's a two-legged thing. So apart from that, I think it's.
I don't mind it staying. I think it's a good thing altogether. But I'm sure that it'll be reviewed over the next season. We'll see how next year goes, and then probably the league will make a judgment call from there. But for now, I think for this season, I think it's been a success. I mean, we can talk. It's been a success for us, that's for sure.
Definitely.
We had a great time.
Anyway, on Tuesday, the 17th of May, Western United lined up at Amy Park after a decisive win on the preceding Saturday against Wellington Phoenix. The crowd was 7,295, so not a bad crowd for a Tuesday night, definitely. But you could tell from the get-go, the team was tired. We didn't have as much. We had a quick turnaround. Victory had a lot of time off, and the return of Risdon ignited a fire on that right side of the pitch, which helped. But Lockie Wales got in some dangerous areas. Still wasn't enough in the end. What are your guys' thoughts about that?
Do you want to go first, man?
I think it was really good. I think it was a good testing ground for us to see what we could do with arguably what we wouldn't have thought our best squad was at the start of the season. And trialing Dillmans or Halls in that front position as well was quite experimental. I really liked that. And although we didn't get the win on the day, it was a building block to the next one.
Yeah, look, for me, that game was both teams trying not to show all their cards in one go. Both teams were just sort of feeling one another out. I like that we mixed it up and sort of had like a 4-4-2 and was really trying to like stretch the width of Melbourne Victory. They were really struggling with that, I found. And, in the end, I thought we played very well considering we were a bit flat at the start, but we grew into the game as it kept going, I felt.
Yeah, definitely.
I was passing in and out of consciousness. I'd just been struck down with the flu. Thanks to Sheck for taking my ticket off me and making sure I didn't blow $30. But from what I did see, from what I do remember, it was a very, very cagey affair. Both teams having chances. Just quickly, obviously, we had the Davidson challenge on Wales. Consensus, just quickly. Everyone thinks that's a penalty? Yes?
I would accept the penalty.
So.
I'd say so too. Obviously, everyone's been talking about that all week, so we'll just skip straight through it. So after being scoreless for 74 minutes, Jake Brimmer scored an amazing goal from outside the box. And to be honest, it was schmick as. Although it wasn't the result we wanted, I think it was a solid performance backing up our performance only days prior against the Knicks. Could have been much worse. Only the one goal conceded. Any final thoughts?
Look, for me...
Or Kellsy.
I'll go. Look, for me... Look, it took what was really a world-class goal to essentially give them the advantage for the first leg. That's the first goal Young's conceded in the final series, and not many keepers are stopping that from the position Jamie Young was in. I'm sorry. It was just a pure great finish, and, I'll take that. If that's the way you're going to go down, you can't sit there and go, it's not like we were outplayed. It was just one brilliant moment.
Yeah, look, I was in the crowd and nobody there was upset at that. Nobody really blamed any of our players. We kind of just stood there and said, what can you do? Amazing finish from a great player.
Yeah, completely agree.
The votes for that, Wallace?
No, we won't worry about it. We just do the final series as a whole.
No problem.
Let's do it.
All right.
Cool. Do you guys want to keep this engine train going?
I reckon you should take us into the big meat of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry if I got a bit.
Big dance.
It's I was listening to stabbing today, so there I did use some like words like dissected and stuff in the previous run sheet. So I'm glad you guys passed through that. So, but shout out stabbing from Texas, great brutal death metal. Now let's on to the fun. Now on Saturday the 21st of May, Western United returned to Amy to take on the VUC to utter oblivion. Like just decimated them. It was great in front of 15,349 people, which is the biggest crowd our team has played in front of since forming. So just a little stat there. Now, this was a well and truly a victory home game with a huge wall of navy blue surrounding our away bay, and the sound was massive. And it's probably one of the best games I've been to in a while for atmosphere, even though it wasn't out. Like our lads were on point, but again, having that back and forth, having just like the crowd jump and be excited to that level, it's what the A League's been missing, and we don't have that level of fan base yet. But it's great to see, and we're still noisy as hell. So, but on that note, there was clusters of green and black all around the stadium. Lots of young kids there, which was really nice to see. It's good to see all the people getting excited about Western United. We were all bunkered down and we were chanting our lungs out. I know, Caleb, you had a big innings that day.
I think a lot of us had a big innings that day. It was amazing. There were people absolutely everywhere, and people on top of each other. My legs are bruised to bits. People ending up with drums over their heads. I won't say who that was. People ending up with multiple kids on their shoulders. Yeah. There was a lot of fun that day, that's for sure, and a huge range of different people that may have not necessarily gotten into the active support before, but the atmosphere of the day, I think, took over, and more people throughout the game got more involved and ended up being a lot more excited than usual, I'd say, obviously during finals football.
As someone that unfortunately had to watch that game from home, it was great to see. It was obviously very daunting seeing the big tifo that Victory had got going. Shout out to them. That was
Fantastic.
That was the best one I've seen all season in the A League for sure. But especially after the first goal, which we'll get into, it was great to see the active grow and grow on TV, and then eventually, overtake Victory and Noise, despite, being the small boys in the corner, making the stadium our own active-wise. And I think that's just, a small percentage. Hopefully I reckon that'll be a third of what we bring to the granny. Pure spectacle-wise on TV, I think it's going to look great, but it'll be better in person. So get down to it.
Just on that, sorry,
I was going to say, would you like to take our experience, or should I do it? Who would you like?
How about we intertwine? So Kellsy and I had a different experience of getting to and from the game to the game and getting to the game. Now Kellsy and I got a ride with Scott and his lovely wife and daughter, and due to the amazing,
to set the scene.
So we were.
You guys are coming from Ballarat.
From Ballarat
in Thornhill Park. So he's picking me up on the way through. Deer Park bypass is shut.
Trains, not like there's coaches replacing trains. We finally get to the city and we are stuck, not even over that bridge towards that stadium precinct. I don't know the street name, Kellsy. Jump in there, street.
It's the bridge just before, John Cain Arena and Rod Laver and that.
Correct. There was a Vixens game on. Dreamtime was on. We could not get a park. We drove around the whole MCG. All the entrance to the ground are closed. Their parking was closed. We ended up parking like near the Forum, I think it is, across from Fed
Square. Car park, opposite Fed Square.
Yeah. So we end up parking there, legging it there. We make it around the 65th minute. And I remember walking in and being like, oh, wow, that's a lot of noise, because we come in the Victory active side of the North Terrace. It's loud, it's booed. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. We get to our end. We walk through, I think it was the 12th bay, I think it was in the corner. We walk through and it's just booming with this massive Western. And you just like, it was really possibly one of my favorite memories now of Western United. It's like that, the first game we played, preseason game, it was just amazing. It was electric to see that many people there, enthused. It was 1-1 at that time. We saw the first the first 2 goals. I was in like a back of it at the 7-seat Tarago, so I was looking through a keyhole to a screen up the front, so it wasn't great viewing, but it was pretty intense.
That photo you got of that.
Yeah, I sent you. I'm like, hey guys, hope you're having fun. Check out my viewing, because I forgot my Paramount Plus password. Amazing. But yeah, such a great game day experience. Kellsy, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Just the emotions of Scott when, we scored, then when they scored, then we scored. That was a roller coaster and a half.
Yeah, and we had that in a car waiting in traffic. Like, we're like swearing at no one. Get far! I want to get there.
Yeah.
And we were across the road from Amy Park. It's stuck in traffic to park at the one where is that the Kane Arena?
John Kane Arena.
Yeah, we were like waiting out the back, and like we'll cross the road. We're like, yeah. So it was a big day. But so enough about how our day was. On the back of leg 1 results, I thought it may have been. Well, this is still about me, to be honest, but still, maybe a more even affair. But with Prijo scoring the first goal in the 18th minute with that great header from Connor Payne, I was like, giddy up, we're back in this. How electric was it in the stadium that day, Lev, when that first goal came through with Prijo, noting that he did have a bit of a dodgy shot a couple minutes prior?
We were ecstatic, and at that point, I know I probably got a bit ahead of myself, but it worked out in the end. But I just felt from that point onwards we were going to win. Even once Jake Bremer scored that amazing feeling, I just still, beforehand, coming into the game, 1-0 down, a little bit of doubt. You have to expect that. But there was just something about that goal and the way that the goal was scored, the lead up to it, the cross, that he had no right to get his head on that. He was stuck right in between 2 players, but he was in the perfect position. And it sent our fans into raptures, quietened theirs down for a little bit too, which probably gave the players a bit more confidence as well going forward in the rest of the game.
So while we're on that goal, obviously I had I was parked about 6 inches from my 55-inch TV, POV. You're me watching the finals.
It's a bit closer than 6.
Yeah, well, I was very close to the TV. I had obviously a great view of that. And you see Dylan Wenzel-Halls make a run, which actually slightly drags the defender that would have been in front of Prijo. So it's what Wenzel-Halls does and doesn't do in that goal that leads to Prijo being able to get his head on it. Still a great finish, still a great ball. But there's 3 players involved in that move, just looking at that. And that's something Dylan Wenzel-Halls did all day, was drag players away from Prijo and allowed him to play his game. And they finally shone through together as a strike partnership today. That was the first instance.
And that's why complete confidence as well.
Dylan Wenzel-Halls' off-ball movement for that whole game was second to none. He dragged people. He just made positioning a nightmare for victory all game.
And he was an absolute cunt. he played like an absolute prick, which isn't something he does all too often. But he did it against Victory and with great effect. He was one of those in and under. He was like a tick on the underside of the Victory defense, just doing enough to piss them off and get them uncomfortable enough for the Lion Prijo to come in for the kill. So, yeah, it was a job well done from Dylan Wenzel-Halls. Yeah, starting with that first goal.
It was so well done. It made me appreciate hyphenated surnames for a brief moment, because we all know how I hate them.
Oh, wow, that's a big one coming from you.
Like, I have to appreciate hyphenated surnames because of his just shithousery that whole game, off the ball movement, just everything he did that game.
Now, guys, I don't want to alarm you, but
hyphenated surname appreciate.
He's got a bit better.
Well earned.
Surname was part of the shithousery. It's
Did
all
I spell that right?
It's all mind games.
Anything with hyphens is shithousery. I think we've come to know that already.
That's now saved. That's gonna come up anytime you say anything nice about Dylan Wenzel-Halls, Kellsy.
Well, there'll be some more coming.
Yeah, it's ready to go. It's ready to go now. Oh, sorry, just went out of my browser. So I got too into that banner then. Now, we went into that, like, we also spoke about Jake Brummer's goal. Again, he's had a phenomenal season for Victory. He's been very crucial to them being such a dominant force, and props, they played really well. Now,
but again, another world-class finish where, like, not many keepers are stopping that too. So both goals conceded across both legs and all goals conceded in the final series have been, you just sit there and you go, well, what can you do about those goals?
Well,
The only problem I had with that is that Leo let himself get away and give away that free kick in a gift of a position. And Leo has been great all season, and he should know that, you know, you've got Brimmer and Davidson over the ball. You've even got Rojas, so he can take a free kick. There's three of the best free kick takers in the league you're playing against, and you've just given them.
Even Economides ain't bad.
Yeah, he wasn't on, but you know you've got so many good free kick takers there, and you've given them pretty much, you know, the whole goal to shoot at. So
yeah, prime real estate.
Yeah, I was really pissed off with that from Leo. I thought we're going to concede from this now, and we did. So that was probably a negative manifestation from me, but.
At the end of the day, you can't be too critical because it's not as similar as giving away as failing to stop them scoring a goal and screwing up in the box or something like that, making an error like that. So on a different day, he wouldn't have scored it. On this day, he did score it, and props to him.
It's giving away a straight up penalty, a la Josh Risden.
Wow, about that.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's go. So it was all square at halftime in the 49th.
That was before halftime.
It was before halftime.
That was after. Was that before halftime?
Before halftime.
It was before halftime.
Okay,
he was the one watching at home, so
Guarantee.
I'll trust his
Dude,
Yeah.
So much. Yeah. It was definitely before halftime. Sorry to cut you off there, Wallace, but it was probably with about 5 minutes to go before halftime. Big air swing from Rizzo. I think it was Marjotta. Is that his name?
It wasn't Marjotta. I'm not 100% sure.
I can't remember his name, but it was one of their big centre backs who'd gone up forward.
Oh, centre back Miranda. I think.
It was Miranda. So he's clipped the back of Miranda to what I'd say 95% of people would say is a penalty that was checked a very long time after the event by VAR and actually not given. So a lot of people saying that should have been given. Me in agreement, and I think like 95% of the crew would say that should be given.
It should have been given. It's
and,
penalty.
However, it's almost like, you know, they're getting us one back for last week. So
I was going to say, you take away our one, you take away their one, everything's balanced perfectly as everything should be.
Exactly.
It evened out. And look,
100%.
Was Alex King our referee on Tuesday? Because if he was, then maybe he was atoning for himself.
Well, yeah, all I'm saying is that's just looking at VAR. The only way I can not possibly give that is saying that Risden's not facing him and he's run into the back of Risden's legs. But
I couldn't even say that.
That's me reaching for it. For me, it was a definite penalty, and we were lucky to get away with that before halftime. But halftime, we go into the break. Got a down goal.
Just to clarify, on Saturday we had Alex King, and on the the Tuesday game we had Ali Reza Fugazi.
Okay.
So they would have swapped over because
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, that was just a little bit of a hypothetical, but look, football, these things happen, and things tend to even out in the end over the course of the season.
That's okay. Now let's keep moving on to the halftime. Since we bring it up, so Prijo managed to get a brace with his 49-minute goal, which was just a solid shot. Dived in. The commentator actually said it was an own goal, which is pretty funny because it was just that much movement. He slid in, just got a little.
But he's seeing it live in the moment when he said that. He hasn't got the hindsight of seeing the replay till after he's seen the replay, though.
Yeah, of course. It was just a little note for the thing.
I know, it was funny though.
But how much did that go off?
I think the people in the crew had a better idea that it was Prijo who scored it and had a better position to look at it than the commentator did from where he was.
Well, it almost did take a touch off the defender, but you can definitely see Prijovic get a full foot to that ball, and obviously it's hard to see.
It is,
see things, but it was definitely Prijovic's goal and Wenzel Hall's probably
What a
with his
ball.
with the best ball he's ever played in his life. That was a perfect curler, something you'd expect to see out of Diamante. Hyphenated
Yeah, appreciate that
surname,
hyphenated
pronunciation
surname right there. Put some respect on it.
I've got another appreciation one, which isn't even Wenzel Halls, but it's, that banner's going to have to pop up a little bit later on in this conversation.
But just quickly as well, I couldn't believe this until I heard it after the game. That was Prijović's first ever brace for us. He's only ever scored single goals for us before. So I couldn't believe that. Like a player that's only getting better and better as he's coming into this squad. Funnily enough, I listened to the post-game interview and he said something along the lines of, it's great that I'm starting to get to know my players really well now. So he's only getting better and better as the season's
But
gone
not
on.
just that, the fact that he has scored a fair few goals for us this season and hadn't scored a brace up until now, that shows a level of consistency, which honestly I would prefer than a brace every third week. I'd prefer him to score 2 weeks out of 3.
Well, just to put in perspective, he's played 12 goals, 26 games played, 23 starts.
Not bad. Not bad for a first season in the new league.
Few assists as well, if you remember when he first started off.
I think he assisted a couple before he scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultimate A-League doesn't have that info, but that's what I got up on my screen. But I think he's been a phenomenal signing, and we've got him next year as well. He's on a 2-year deal, so he's only going to get better. And this forward line with Wenzel Halls, him, Wales, and Payne, that is beastly. That is, it's a gigantic.
Well, the fact of Jay even just saying before that he's loving that he's knowing to get his players better, it shows that he's in for, at least next season and maybe longer.
Yeah, he's invested.
I reckon he'll be Golden Boot contender, like top 2 Golden Boots next year. Easy.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Not to mention playing without at that point we were playing with Skatardis, a more defensive-minded midfielder rather than Lustica. So, we didn't have as much of that attacking mind in the midfield to help those front 3 players. But nonetheless, we found ourselves drawing level.
I think the fact.
Let's talk about Skatardis.
Actually, let's go to that.
Again, I've been talking very highly of Skatardis. Talk about someone who is really bringing it to that next level. Like, remember last season when he got to go on his birthday in Ballarat and had, got pantsed, and he's a player that is genuinely progressing. He's learning, he's doing better, and he's taking advantage of this shot he's had.
And he's still quite young. He is still quite young.
He could be a long-term player for us. He's not he's one of our own.
Exactly. He's been there from almost the get-go, I believe. Maybe I think he came in halfway through the beginning season.
Well, he played 16 games in season 1.
I think he came in. He wasn't there right at the start, but he came in not long after.
Early. No.
He was there or thereabouts. So he
might have been a youth player.
He's essentially a foundation player.
I believe he did. I think we signed him somewhat early into the start of the season, within the first 5 rounds of our first season.
So he's still a foundation player. And that's somebody. And look, we love our foundation players. Obviously we do, because we've only supported the club for 3 years, like everybody who has. And the fact that we still do have a fair few of those blokes that have bought into the project from the start, love what's going on at the club, and have actually progressed themselves and progressed the way that the club wants to go. It's amazing. It's the kind of emotion that you want to see from players in a football club, because that's the kind of emotion that the fans have.
100%. It's really nice seeing those things start to come to fruition, in my opinion. And just moving on to next. So again, we've talked about when Kellsy and I got to the game, which was around the 65th minute. In the 78th minute, after some really tense plays, presses from the VUC, Lockie Wales, the legend, right foots one in and runs up the terrace, and it just erupts. There was some of our people on the field. This was we bum rushed the show a la Public Enemy. This was such an intense moment. There was bass drums, people carrying bass drums. The flags were swinging. This was just a chaotic moment, and probably very iconic. I was standing next to you, Kellsy, in the middle of of the terrace at the time. It was freaking mental.
It was.
How,
I can
what are
take.
your- you go
So
first.
this is
then we'll go
my
with the other one.
this is my thing. So I don't know if you recall, but as Prijovic heads it down, I turn to you and say, "This is about to be a goal," and then sure as hell, Lachie Wells buries it. Anyway, there's raptures going on around. All of a sudden, I can't breathe. I'm thinking, "What the fuck's going on here?" One of the lads who was standing up on the chairs, had grabbed my hood and was using it to balance. So I'm like being hung from my hoodie. Wallace is trying to drag me, so it's going against the hoodie. I'm like, I'm like trying to breathe and shit amongst it all, like trying to get my fingers in my neck. Just going up in the raptures of it. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Funny that, because I said exactly the same thing to Mitch right before the goal happened. I said, here's a goal. We're going to score again. 2, 3, 4 seconds later, bang, turn around. Everyone. I would show my legs, but I'm a little bit self-conscious. But God, I am banged up after that game, guys. It was intense. It was crazy. You can't explain it. I think everyone was suffocating at least a little bit.
Yeah, the collective emotion was amazing.
And I've even had people that I've spoken to, other friends that watch the game, people at work that have seen my stories, all other people's Instagram stories, photos. They thought I was in England. The vibe was that good that they said, "What are you doing here at work today? I thought you were in England." That's how intense it actually got. You see how they celebrate overseas. We celebrated like that, and I'm really, really proud of all the fans for celebrating like that, and the players, and just the whole account.
It looked fantastic on TV, and I thought, God, I wish I could be there right now. You know, getting in amongst it with everyone, but
You didn't want to get everyone cooked for this weekend coming up.
But the beauty of it was I had a front row seat for that goal, and the ball from Kilkenny being inch perfect, perfectly cushioned down from Prijo and Payne. Even though when Wales hit it, it got deflected and went in. That was going into the other top corner. So if that does get deflected, it's still going in
regardless.
That is going one corner or the other. And you know, I leapt up on the back fence and was celebrating out to the open field behind where I live. I was running around. I called my dad and ended up watching the rest of the game with my dad, who doesn't follow soccer, on the phone. He ended up jumping ship and saying, screw Melbourne Storm, I'm going for Western tonight, and end up watching the rest of the game pretty much over the phone with me. And that was absolute delirium after that third goal. And that's when I thought, wow, we really could be on here, because I honestly thought at least we can. I thought at that point we're at least going to win it, in penalties. Yeah, in penalties if victory, because victory now have to throw everything at us to get this game back.
And they did.
And they didn't get it back.
Sorry, they did. They threw everything at us, and that's what happens towards the end of the game.
Hey, Wallace, what was your experience of that goal?
I was pretty ecstatic. It was chaos. I haven't had that exhilarating of an experience like a mosh pit. That was the kind of vibe. It was really good, but also it's probably a Canadian mosh pit. Oh, sorry. Okay. You know what I mean? That was a bit Midwest, but it was just a fun experience. The joy. There's so many good photos from that. It was such a defining moment for our club and us as supporters to have that, have such an iconic moment. I don't know how else to put it. It was just, that's one of those things we're going to look back on. It's like the first game, seeing this happen.
I
so many
personally
moments.
say it's my favorite ever experience with the club.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of intimate experiences. We've had a lot of wins. We've had a lot of losses, which have still been good experiences to have as well. Different sort of events. This was the best, the absolute best.
And the other thing I want to add is this was a club-defining game. This is a game, you look back on as supporters or as a club 10 years later and you go, this was a key moment in the development of the club and where it goes. And
the identity of battling, coming back from behind, the
Working
just
class.
Yeah, death or glory. Let's do this. You know what I mean? I think it's it just embodies the whole perception of this club and what it stands for. Because people are always like, oh, it's the words what it stands for. It is. It's hardworking, and it's community driven. That's what I think this club stands for. But Jay or Kelsey, got anything to add?
Not for that goal. I think
So-
we've all covered that really well.
Yeah. So we'll keep going. Now, 5 minutes of extra time was added, and it ended up being about 10. And there was a potential penalty which kind of pushed that forward. I don't want to go into the nitty gritty of it, but it felt like an attorney in the stands. Do you guys think the ref was taking the piss?
From what I saw at home, no, because there were a lot of stoppages in that extra time. So I think the game went maybe a touch too long, maybe an extra 30 seconds too long, but it wasn't an egregious amount. Especially after, there were, we'll get into it, but the final goal of the game definitely added a little bit on with those celebrations. So I thought honestly, botched penalty towards victory aside in that first half, thought it was a very well ref game. He kept his cards in his pockets for most of the time, allowed play to play on, brought back advantages when he needed to. I actually thought it was pretty well officiated other than that one VAR call, which ultimately had no bearing on the outcome of the game.
Just going
I think
handball or not, to me that wasn't handball. You guys all agree?
Purely because of where his hand's tucked into his body. Where's it going to go?
Yeah.
He's trying to turn away from it anyway.
Yeah, he's turning away from it. It's already behind his body. There's literally, other than cutting his arm off, there's nothing he can do to stop that ball from hitting his hand. It's not like it's not like it's 2-3 meters away. Even it's a meter and a half away. The ball's from boot to hand. So,
and he's doing everything he can to not let it hit his arm. He literally did try to do everything he could.
And there are a few slightly half-hearted, or slightly more than half-hearted penalty shouts. And your victory, you're going to be shouting for that. But no one was complaining after seeing it. Not even the victory fans, because they knew that it's just not there. And if you're paying those as penalties,
then the sport's dead.
You might
then the sport's dead.
You might as well start cutting arms off because you're not going to be able to play.
Do we walk around as people with our arms behind our back like this?
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Neil had his arm behind his back anyway, so
even then,
you can call that an unnatural position.
Even if he had it by his side,
yeah,
nah, you can't get those.
So I think that was a good call.
Now, in what was the nail in the coffin for a deflated victory, Connor Payne legs it past and gets deep past the defenses and passes to Dylan Wenzel-Halls, who slides the ball in for a 99th minute goal. And our Bay went freaking mental. Should I just get the banner going? Should I just do it now, guys?
Yeah, just get the appreciation up there.
Do it.
And then
There it is.
I also want to start with, Jay and I called this last week on the pod. We said if we were up, Victory would be throwing everything to try and get the win, and they'd get caught with an empty net.
Yeah.
And
was
they
an
did.
almost empty net. It was a half empty net.
Well, Keeper still come way out. He was out of the box essentially.
I'm going to be a pessimist and say it was net half empty. So rather than
But he was
net half
coming out
full.
to do it. But we did call it. It happened to be the counter on the other way. It'd go, just slot it in nicely, bang, done, game over.
Although Caliber's not a great keeper.
He's a shit
let's
keeper
be
anyway,
honest.
so it's not. He's probably not going to stop that anyway.
If he was Jamie Young, they probably would be in the position we are in. But hang on, you've got to get the banner ready again. Celebrations with that. An injured Nikolai Topor Stanley runs and celebrates with everyone.
Oh,
hang on.
Dude.
Hang on. I got something for this.
I
am. You
I
mean
think I know it.
Copper Stanley, this guy,
the signed MTS match ball.
runs the length.
Beautiful.
But not only he did, Jamie Young also ran from the other goalpost to celebrate as well. Like that was a stacks on, like Rizzo's on there. Like that is like you know those heartwarming moments. Actives going crazy. The players are going crazy.
Oh,
Everyone's
the coaches.
exhausted.
Ryan Scott's on. Diamante's on.
Injured again.
You know.
These injured players are probably doing more damage to themselves because they're so excited.
Yeah.
Seb
Yeah.
Pasquale was there as well. Like, it was great. Like,
Absolute scenes.
And everyone involved was involved. That's the beautiful thing. Everyone involved in the club was involved.
Yeah, even Aloisi ran on the pitch.
Yeah. You should go yellow card for that.
Hey, and he's
no, he shouldn't. He's allowed to celebrate that.
Exactly. Well, there was another bloke from ours that fell on the pitch. That
was earlier in the game. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, no, but yeah, there were a few people that ended up on the pitch that they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, a few non-players, non-officials on the pitch, but
hey, that's the beauty of the excitement and the adrenaline of the game.
But obviously, that was the sealer. Obviously, my dad was actually 30 seconds ahead watching the match on his TV. So, and he'd been taking the piss, knowing that he was 30 seconds ahead, and he was saying things like, victory have scored. Oh no!" But he was obviously half-assed, so I could tell he was taking the piss out of me. And all of a sudden, he's gone, "Oh, they've scored! Wenzel scored." Obviously, he's got no idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're taking the piss." And then I've realised, hang on, he doesn't know any players. He's actually
We're on a break.
This. And then as soon as I've realised that, I've seen Payne break through, and I've gone absolutely off my rocker. So that was honestly that was when we knew we were going through. That was when it was like,
solidify, and that's when the Victory fans started pouring out.
Well, they were already pouring out by that point.
A few, but that's when they were leaking. They were leaking out, and then they started pouring out,
trickling to pouring. But who can blame them? That was game over.
Yeah. But in
their fairness, they did have one call section that did stay even well after that.
They had their players come up again. Melbourne Victory have especially this season, have had a good relationship between fans and the players. And it's good to see their players did that for the last game of the season as well. Yeah. So that's nice. Whilst we were all off chop, Leo Lacroix come up. I know Ryan Scott come and said hi to you, Leo.
He ended up on with the Speedo Sunnies. It was grouse. We got a couple of nice photos. Ryan was
I patted his head.
What's that? You patted his head. Nice.
He was hugging you. I'm patting his head.
Yeah.
It was a little bit.
I don't know who was actually touching me at the point because I probably had 20 people on top of me, like everyone else did. It was mental. My grandma was in there with us. She's 76 at the end of the year, and she was having a ball as well.
She was loving it.
An amazing experience. Shout out to Luce.
Yeah, and Luce is good egg.
Luce and Chrissy. Mum was there too. So. Good sports. The service crews for any age.
Yeah.
Just quickly back to Victory. What a turnaround from season to season that they've had. From their worst ever season, their first ever wooden spoon, to being within touching distance of a grand final is a good thing for the league because anyone can do it. We've seen Newcastle do it as well. So it's unfortunately, there's teams that just have been a bit cursed, like Wellington, that have never made a grand final.
Look, it's the beauty of the league, though, and it's the beauty of what I feel and a lot of Australians know as Australian sport. It's not like a lot of overseas sports where there's those dominant teams constantly. There is that turnaround, and even though some teams have a better chance than others, you're always in with the chance, which I think excites fans more. And if our sport was like it was overseas and Victory and Sydney and City were dominating year in, year out, and it was consistent, I feel like the league would probably die. So it's a good thing that it is the way that it is.
And it's also important. These wins are very, very special. We might not see another one of these for 10 years. We might not ever see another one. We could just be extremely unlucky. We could turn into that team. So that's why it is incredibly important for us to get down there and support the boys on Saturday. You might never see this again. We might see it 5 times in the next 10 years, but
we don't know. You can't.
It's coming, and we have to. You've got to be there. And if you don't want to go there for the team, go there for yourself to watch the first ever all Victorian grand final. It's history.
and that was going to be the next point I get to. Props for Victoria dominating the A-League this season. Even though it's Victorian City, we've got a rivalry with them. They've got a rivalry with each other. It's great to see the three Victorian teams flourishing, especially because two of the three of us finished in the bottom three last season, even though City did win.
Yeah, and it's the Southern States League as well. We might as well call it, with Adelaide doing, going on a 7-game tear at the end of the season to almost and be within touching distance.
Well, he's kind of in line with us too.
Yeah. So yeah, and they almost they were in touching distance. They had a goal up on City, but
and Adelaide have had a fantastic season as well. They were pretty unlucky in their first few games where they copped those draws, but they've been one of the teams to watch this season. And I said at the start of the season, I actually tipped them to win the whole thing, and I said, watch out for these guys. They are dangerous. So congrats to Adelaide as well for doing so well and reaching the semi-final and being in there till extra time.
Yeah, and, all the teams made it a great final series. Wellington and CCM
also put up
included.
a great...
Let's hope it's a great game. Well, honestly, let's not hope it's a great game. Let's hope Western absolutely roll City on the weekend. But
let's hope for 5-0.
I wouldn't mind that, but I don't think it will be. I think it'll be a great game with plenty of attacking because, we'll get into that, I suppose. But a great way to go. And the final few minutes of that our last match was our second last match of the season. It was a great way to go into our last match of the season. I think that ending on such a high is only going to do wonders for us.
Before we get into the thingos, I'd like to ask a question. Noting, regardless of the result this weekend coming, are you excited for next season?
Yes.
I'm excited for every season. We got smacked for 6 games in a row at the end of last season.
And we were still excited for this season. Yeah, nothing's ever going to change. And that's what the club needs. And that's what the club has, a lot of diehard supporters that whether we finish first or last, we're going to be there round one, ready to support our team for the next season and try and get the boys going for a good year ahead.
So the thing is, players will come and go as well. It's always going to happen in the A-League. But I think we've already, with people like, even at the start, Mark Rudin, now John Aloisi, who's putting his stamp on the team. You've got Connor Payne, Josh Rooston, Ryan Scott,
Jerry Scatardis,
Diamanti. We've got and now the new blood like Kilkenny.
There's still even more. Tomoki's been there from nearly the start as well.
We've built a culture, and I think culture in football is what will win you or bring you success, because I can guarantee the one reason City are up there still is Patrick Kisnorbo. He's been around that club since for
2013, 14.
Exactly.
Like
he knows how it works. And as much as I don't like City, I've got nothing but respect for Kisnorbo for what he's done for that club. So building something like that, if we can continue to do that, next season should be a successful one as well.
Now, before you do player votes.
Yeah, you go.
Sorry, you go first. Before we go to player votes, I'd just like to say one. You go.
You go.
You sure?
No.
All right. Look, I just want to end on one last positive note. I'd like to congratulate Victory on their treble. For the last 3 years, they have finished as the 3rd best Victorian club.
Whoa.
So Melbourne boys are still number 1 at being number 3.
Amazing. Good little shithousery there. Now, I just
Three's the magic number.
On a side note, we have Jamie Young next season.
We do. I knew that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how good is that?
We also keep Ryan Scott next season too.
That's going to be a hard. I think, Jamie, Ryan
will be a
Scott
tough one.
Yeah, I think it'll be. Yeah, to have him, he'd be what, 28 then?
We'll talk about. No, he's still a couple. He'd be 27. We'll talk about this.
I think that's another problem for another day. Now let's get into vote. Let's get into votes, guys. We've had a big episode already today. Player of the year, and this is already decided, but we gave Leb gave 3 points to Prijo, 2 points to Wales, 1 point to Young. Jay, you gave 3 to Prijo, 2 to Young, 1 to Dylan Wenzel Halls. Kels gave 3 to Prijo, 2 to Wales, 1 to Dylan Wenzel Halls. Scott gave the same as you. I gave 3 to Prijo, 2 to Kilkenny, who I think is underappreciated in my opinion. He's been so crucial to us, and I probably crapped on about it too much, and 1 to Wales. Also, we didn't mention Kilkenny broke down in tears at the end of that game because he, like our coach, has sacrificed being with his family for the last 10 months to play for Western United.
Well, I kind of wanted to bring him up in what I wanted to mention as well, because I wish I could have given a 5-4-3-2-1 this game, because it felt unfair not to give Kilkenny or Dylan Wenzel-Halls any votes.
For me, if it was Young and Kilkenny, for me, like, there was no...
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was too hard to jam into
they
three.
were all so good.
Yeah. It's so like I just want to acknowledge the sacrifice some of these players make. Well, I didn't realize till last week's presser that Eloise's family's still back in Queensland. Kilkenny's family has come out last week. They're still in WA, and they've had such tight border restrictions they've not been able to visit at all. So I really appreciate the contributions they've made to our club and for the sacrifices. But let's get on to votes. Sorry, that seemed like a very positive segue, and I didn't want it to be that way.
Should we do the votes for Tuesday as well?
We're scrapping that.
Yeah. Yep. So Jamie Young is still 50 points up, but Alexander Prijo, due to his he's had 22 votes in the last 3 games. He's coming second on 85. He's jumped Lustica. Third, we have Stephen Lustica tied with Lockie Wales on 77. Fourth, we have Leo Lacroix on 72. Fifth, we have Neil Kilkenny on 59. Sixth, we have Joshy Risdon on 57. Seventh, we have Connor Payne on 55. Eighth, we have Ben Garuscio on 51. Ninth is Topper Stanley on 43. And 10th is Tomoki Amai on 28.
How good is that spread? It shows they've all pulled great votes this season. The spread is probably better than we have had in other seasons. I know the scores were different because there weren't always the voting styles in the first. But that just shows that the whole team has been really, really consistent.
Yeah, we've got votes across the board. I often will give debutants the one vote as a bit of a to spread it out a bit more. But
Benny Collins.
Bozanovsky. Shout out Bozanovsky. He had a good innings as well when he was on. I can't shut up about this game. It was amazing. But we should probably... Any final comments, because it was a once-in-a-lifetime moment for all of us. Anyone want to
be there on Saturday. Be there on Saturday, and it will be better than last week, which was the best week.
Okay, guys. Does that mean we're getting into the
grand
preview?
Fucking final.
The old big dance.
Which is on Saturday, the 28th of the 5th. Western United will be taking on Melbourne City, who have had a consistent season and whom we've had a bit of a rivalry for top spot for a good portion of the season with. Western have found form and are bolstered with a great attacking combination and a still resilient and amazing defence. How do you guys think we'll line up in this duel of the fates? Similar to last week?
I can't see anything different unless there's... Look, I wouldn't take Skotadis out personally, but I can't see anything different unless there's a return for, let's say, Rene Quinn or Stephen Lustica wasn't injured that badly once he came on. If Stephen Lustica's fit, he will be playing. I don't believe he'll be fit from the start, though.
I think
he got subbed off injured.
Exactly. So he got
subbed
what
off.
I've heard what I've heard in the grapevine is it was soreness from the previous injury. Let's hope that it was just soreness, because if he's available to start this week and fit enough, he will. Otherwise, it'll be exactly the same, I'd say.
I don't think you risk him. I think he's an impact sub, and I think Jerry has to start.
Yeah,
purely. Look, and it's a pure luck because there's a lot of players that I would pick over.
Rene Quinn's injured too.
I would pick Quinn over Skotadis, and I would pick Diamante, obviously.
And that's not a slight on Jerry at all.
No, but he's been consistent. He's been there, and he will be there on Saturday, I believe.
I believe.
Look, Aloisi has been consistent. He hasn't made. Sorry, you keep going.
Sorry, yeah, just quickly. Attacking wise, we were brilliant with Jerry in the squad, and I think Lustica fit could definitely bolster us late in the game. So definitely, I'd be very happy to have Lustica waiting in the wings on Saturday, and I'd definitely see him coming on if he's.
I'm very positive.
If he's well.
I'm positive regardless who starts in that last midfield position, because obviously Neil will be there, bar some freak injury, touch wood in training.
Yeah. So look, and Aloisi's been consistent all year. It doesn't make wholesale changes for the sake of it. He tends to be fairly consistent. It's only if there's a better option available who's fit, they get it. But I think based on last week's game, I'd say we're pretty much starting with the same 11.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Do you think we start with Dylan Wenzel-Halls and Prijo up front, Wallace?
yes. I think this is such an effective means for attacking. He not only is that good for us from just those two players, but they're able to rotate and shift around and work with Lachie Wales, as we were talking about. And I'm going to get it up again. The hyphenated surname appreciation alert.
There's a fluidity between all of those and Connor Payne as well. You can see even Dylan Wenzel-Halls and Prijo can drop into those wide positions if we're rotating, while Payne and Wales can push forward and be in those main positions. It's a rotating front four, which is beautiful. But then you've got players like, look, I know Wales isn't as good defensively, but you got Payne, who played at left wing back for us for the past 2 seasons. So he's got this defensive qualities and defensive capabilities as well.
And you've got Rizzo covering and can
covering
also push
Lachie
forward.
on the other side.
Not to mention someone we've completely neglected this whole podcast.
Benny.
Ben Garuccio had an absolute
Yes.
blinder.
Oh.
And look, he had one of those games where it was like
A quiet, beautiful game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
solid. Hell.
it was like who's the guy the Greek from Greek mythology that holds the world on his back? It's not Cronus, Atlas. He was Atlas first. You couldn't see him, but he was there holding everything together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was going to say it's poetry in motion. He just
Essentially, though, Tomoki was brilliant. Like, I can't fault any one of our players except, as you said before, Leo for the free kick. But that's nitpicking.
he was a
Everyone's
beast the rest of the game.
A quick shout out to every single one of our players that played that game.
But quickly, just on that back line, I think Tomoki starts because of his pace.
And Topol's still injured.
Yeah, Topol's still injured, Crin's still injured, but Tomoki's so fast, he has to stay on.
Well, Crin only started that centre-back game because we had the others out.
Yeah, but obviously, looking at City, they've pretty much got the Aussie national team, or at one point or the other, they've all been in the front three for the Aussie national team. You've got McLaren, you've got Lecky, you've got
Wonder
Naboo.
how that happened.
They're all up front. Obviously, I said Amai for his pace to negate those three. You've also got Tilio, who can come on if he doesn't start.
Another Socceroo.
Another Socceroo, if not.
Kolokovsky as well.
Yeah, Kolokovsky.
Another Olyroos.
No, he's North Macedonian.
Oh, yeah, he did change it up.
Yeah.
North Macedonian. Obviously, we've
Quick thing. The Socceroos are shit, so we should beat them.
Yeah,
We should beat them. The Socceroos are crap. Like,
That is the hottest
I'm
take.
going to the UAE game expecting we don't even win that one. I want to see UAE make the World Cup because we don't deserve it. The Socceroos are shit. They don't deserve to make the World Cup, and they don't deserve to win the A-League.
Well, we know how Caleb thinks. How do you boys think we'll go in our sparring match against the Socceroos? Up back.
Kellsy, you go.
Look, I think we've got a solid back line. I think we've played against them, 3 times now?
And we haven't lost this season.
I believe it was 2 wins and a draw from memory.
And 1 goal conceded.
Yeah, I think we know how to hold them. I think we don't need to change anything up. We know what they hold. They know what we hold. It'll just be who blinks first. And I think our defense is solid. And looking at the goals Jamie Young's conceded in the final series, good luck getting one by him anyway.
And you look at Tom Glover. Who's more likely to make it? And I hope saying this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. But who do you guys believe is more likely to make an error? Tom Glover or Jamie Young?
Well, how many clean sheets is it now for Jamie Young? Is it 11?
It's out. He's outright regardless.
That's what I mean. He's double anybody, and I think that shows throughout the course of the season. I'm backing him in because he's given me, 27 games of proof prior to, or 28 games of proof prior to this.
Guys.
And it's also worth mentioning, like, You have a look at how we finished our game. We started well, had a bit of a shitty period in the middle, but only got stronger. City came on very strong towards the end against Adelaide, but Adelaide fell away
They flopped.
completely.
They were too tired.
Their subs were atrocious. They were bad, and City capitalised and still could only score 2 goals. One of them, off the back of
goal.
It was a good goal, but it was off the back of some poor defending. And the second one was straight up Jakobsen passing the ball back to them and then being able to score. I think we can beat them up both ends.
We have to look at consistency as well, and that's the thing. A lot of other football fans on social media and elsewhere, you see them saying, "Western can only win 1-0. Oh, sloppy wins, blah blah blah." Level of consistency. This has got a Leicester City story going about it.
And I remember talking to Scotty saying 1-0 wins aren't going to be enough. They haven't been enough, and it wouldn't have been enough this week. But guess what? That was a 4-1 win, Scotty. 4-1. If we can produce anything like we did last week, if we can score...
If we play like we did last week, we will win.
I think if we score 3 goals this week, there's nothing City can do because they will
and
not
I'll
score.
put it this way. That first
3
leg against
goals.
Victory, even the way we were playing, we could have easily scored 2 to 3 in that game too.
That was an even game. Look, we didn't speak about it much, obviously, because it was... Look, at the end of the day, it was a bit boring. It was a stalemate. Both teams defended well, and it took a worldie.
Yeah, but we could have. But in any other game, that could have easily been 2 to 3 goals to us, or 2 to 3 goals to them in a different game against a different team. The attacking intent for both sides was there in both legs.
Yeah,
and that's something people haven't seen from us.
While we're talking about scores, boys, our last one for the season, score predictions for the A-League.
I have
Grand
Scotty's
Final.
score prediction too.
Yeah,
go with Scotty
Scotty's first. And then
Scotty's predicted. So Scotty's predicted 2-1. They score first.
Okay.
Now I have gone a similar margin. So he's tipping the boys in green and black. Again, I am tipping the boys in green and black. I've also got 2-1, but I believe we score first. I even think we may even score the first 2 goals before they even score one. I think they might just get like a late one while we're too busy celebrating in the 90-odd minute.
that seems more likely to me than Scotty's, honestly. Wallace?
Okay. Goal-a-palooza. Like, this is going to be insane. It's going to be nail-biting. It's going to age me 10 years. 3-2. Both teams score within the first 30. City up at halftime, then kind of park the bus. We come in, get the leveler around the 60, final goal around the 85, and then I black out drunk for the rest of the day. That's the...
You go next. No, you go next.
Any thoughts on that? I just think it's a good time.
Hang on. You go.
I'll go. Caleb's just told me his. Bit more climactic than mine, but I'm going to go 1-0 Western United.
The bread and butter.
Preview to score inside the first 20 minutes, and
That's
for us
spicy.
to grind out
Like the Welly game.
I like the Welly game. Score early, hit them hard, hit them fast. Still beat the brakes off them for the game, but we just can't seem to score. But I see it. I reckon we double the amount of shots they have. I'm not even kidding. I reckon we double the crosses into the box that they get. Caleb?
My prediction is 3 votes, Jamie Young, 0-0. He pulls off worldies and wins it in pens for us.
Oh.
Yes.
This is just fantasy booking. That's all this is.
My heart might fucking explode.
Those scenes, though. Those scenes.
Jeez.
But I'm stressing thinking about that scenario.
Dude,
That's what I
got
believe
sweaty
will
hands
happen.
thinking if we come to that scenario, I don't know what is going to happen. I might die then.
We won't even make the Champions League final afterwards. We'll just drop.
Yeah.
But that is my very, 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 very I don't even know. I'm trying to find a word for it. It's just a crazy.
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
I will
But
check into a nursing home after this if that happens, because I'll be freaking 60.
I feel like I need to now, thinking about it. The
That's.
past 2 days, I've just been.
I've seen
I
too
can't
many.
get it together.
I've
after
seen
it.
too many penalty shootouts recently, and I'm not enjoying it. But I think that just about rounds off our probably the most
So-
intense and best preview. Sorry, Kelsey.
Last note on that: heart clinics in the western suburbs. Be ready for some business if that comes to
Oh, yeah.
fruition.
Gonna need some defibs and the crew. No bar tab. Just drop the 2-3 grand on some defibrillators and leave them there.
If anyone's
leave
got
them
some
lying around.
paramedic friends, we need you in the crew on the night.
Man, that's hard out. I couldn't handle that.
I've just got
on
a
a
feel.
little-
I don't want it to be. I want us to win 4-0 and just to be comfortable, honestly, and just us have a party for the whole game.
I see goals happening. Luckily,
Yeah,
for you,
I think
Caleb.
that's why I said 5 goals. I think it's going to be Goalapalooza. They got McLaren, they got Lecky, Naboo. We've found our goals like this late in the season. Just an interesting stat before I forget: they have not beaten us since Jan 16, 2021.
Not bad.
We've had
good.
Nearly a year
one
and a half.
draw and 2 wins since then.
There had to be 1 draw and 3.
Yeah, sorry, my
Yeah.
apologies.
Revenge for the first
One draw,
season
3, apologies.
semi-final, where that pen shouldn't have been a pen.
Yeah. So 3 goals, 3 wins, 1 tie. So 4 games.
Yeah, because I say Brandon was at one of those because that was the game where we broke the duck against them.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
Very
That was
sick. Apologies.
first week of the season.
But yeah, going to be a ripper. I'd also like to give a shout out to Anthony Ashton. He will be in attendance.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the mustache will be there.
Another one I do believe that moved away that we need to give a shout out to that should be making it down is our old mate Corey Hall.
Corey Hall. Fucking oath.
We've missed him. Moved into state to pursue other opportunities, but he's a Westie through and through.
And the final shout out to who's coming to the game that we're glad. That's you. You, the Western United fan. You're coming to the game.
All
You're
of
getting
you,
in on it.
everyone
Every single one.
Every single one of you. We love you all, and the players, and the club, and the staff all love you.
Yeah, and if you're over 18,
I've
come
got
up to me and give me a smooch on the lips for coming to the game.
As
I
long
got
as you
one
don't.
for you. The unofficial 6th member and missing member of the pod will be inactive this weekend.
Nick,
Oh, and it's not a first, but it's a rarity.
It's
might be
only
the
been one at a time.
It's a rarity.
This will be the first time the whole pod's been together.
Time
at
for
a game.
Time for a photo.
you should get a photo.
Fucking oath.
Fuck. But yeah,
Also,
get in.
quick shout out anyone. If anybody is going to watch the Champions League final, there will be plenty of Western Service crew fellas in the CBD that night, probably at Federation Square. Go you Reds. We'd like to see you all there as well because it's just going to be an amazing night of football in general.
But it's all going to kick off with us
Exactly.
winning. You
The big
know,
one.
it all starts with us winning the big one.
So on that note,
Get down there.
tickets are on sale now to the general public. I got mine today. I think it was $54 plus booking fee. If you get a bunch of yours together, it lessens the booking fee, doesn't it, Kellsy? It's much easier.
Yes, it
splitting
does.
So that's very good. Get in there. It's affordable. It's not too bad at all.
How cheap is that for a grand final?
Put it this
Yeah.
way.
Try going to the AFL grand final, even the NRL grand final.
Been a
Well,
How
time-
cheap is that?
Standing
Been a time
only,
my
I
whole
can tell you
life.
from 2019, standing only, MCG for Richmond, $189.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest you can get, isn't it?
I could only scalp tickets, and I've been a Richmond fan my whole life. I just didn't get in the lottery as a member, and the cheapest ticket for me was $500 to go by myself. No family, no one there.
Divide that by 10, and you're coming to the Western game.
I got
And
something
your
I'd like to
family's
say.
gonna be there.
My
the
family
West.
would be ashamed if I was a Richmond fan. So let's just keep moving.
Same. Yeah.
It was a rough Saturday for you after the for you Dons fans after the
I know.
That's all right. The Cavs had a good one
yeah.
against
So
the
now-
other Magpies.
Now let's get on to it. So tickets are on sale. The Western Service crew and West United fans are all welcome at the Pre-Game Club, which is the Richmond Club Hotel. We all get there, we talk, we sing. It's a really great community. This is family friendly. There will be a few people drinking the beers, but it's all inclusive. Everyone is welcome. Let's get down and paint the town red and black.
Great
amazing
food.
Great range.
Awesome meal.
Great range of beers. Just a great venue all around.
Awesome pub staff.
Exactly. This is part of the community that we as Western United fans are building, and I love it.
And it's a short walk from the stadium.
Exactly. It's a short walk from
400. Oh, maybe 800 meters.
It's about a 10-minute walk from the stadium.
Yeah, it's
very
at most.
5 minutes. 5 minutes from Richmond Station. 10 from the ground.
Here's the thing: we all walk to the ground together. They're singing.
There is security, so you don't have to worry if you're worried about any issues happening as well. It is a completely safe experience. There's singing, there's chanting. It's beautiful. It's the sort of thing that you do see overseas, that those sorts of clubs are built up. So be there.
And once again, it's family inclusive. Everyone
is
welcome. It's the
beautiful part of the beautiful game.
Exactly. It's the community that we build around it. Now, did you guys want to get on to a bit of around the grounds? But yeah, get to the freaking game. There's one thing I want to share with you guys.
Do it.
What do you guys think of the A-League All-Stars kit? I think it is freaking schmick.
I like it. I'm still considering getting one, but I would have been more likely to get one if we didn't make the grand final and one of our players play.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. Like, I know our players, we had a few players announced in it. Actually, how does the Jamie Young one look? Well, like not the Jamie Young, because he won't be playing, obviously. But
they've got Curto. They've got Curto.
They do now, which, yep. He probably deserves it too. If it wasn't for his injury, he'd probably still be at the club.
Yeah. They also have Qual. I had a quick look at the people available earlier because I'm not a big kit guy. I have one other kit that isn't ours, which was a brilliant birthday gift from our friend Kellsy over there, which is the Ajax 3 Little Birds. It is amazing.
You've got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
Jeez. I couldn't get that anywhere.
I wanted one.
So they did a second release and I jumped, I put my name down, registered for it, bought it. So Nick Wallace and I all have one.
That's good.
Beautiful.
That's probably the best kit released in the last 10 years.
It is a gorgeous kit. I had to get it. Just had to get it.
I was just on for a slash, but I don't know if anyone's... This looks like a PSG clean away kit.
A Real Madrid kit. That's Real Madrid.
I don't know why it's got a star up the top. It looks like the 7-sided star or whatever we have.
Because one of our clubs has won the Champions League.
Is that why it is?
Won the Champions League. We get stars teams get stars when they win the Champions League.
I know why we get stars. I don't know why this team has a star.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's because of West Sydney.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense to me. But this is
we're the All Stars.
Yeah, true. But they shouldn't get a star.
Actually, that makes more sense.
But this is a beautiful kit. I'm tempted to get this, and I'm not a kit guy. I have a few Western United kits, but this is freaking schmicker. I just want to talk about that.
It's gorgeous.
It's sexy.
Yeah. On a separate note, a number of players, like we're in the release season of the end part of the season.
Yeah.
Sydney have dumped a heap of people. Surprisingly, Max Burgess isn't on that list, which I was kind of hoping he was out of spite. But for me, probably the big one is Wellington Phoenix. They've dumped a couple of people. Gael Sandoval. That for me is a big. We need a new Diamante because I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't see Diamante being a big part of our club next season. I think Sandoval is a big get.
Can I say one quick thing about Diamante? I would not be surprised if he stays. However, I'm not expecting him to be a player.
Yeah.
But I expect him to, if he does want to stay in Australia, he won't go to another club. He'll be with us in a coaching role or at least some role of some capacity.
Do you know what I'd like to see him do? You go.
I was
Or
going to say,
even
he could even
Humphrey.
be like as a depth to the squad, just be a player coach where his primary role is to be the coaching. But if we need depth or something, he'll be there like to be able to play as well.
Come off the bench, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Back to Wellington. They, even though they've let a few go, it hasn't been as bad as recent years where they've lost, players like Davila and all that. And,
Davila, Max Burgess,
Philip Curto, they've lost
You
a
mean
lot of
like
Andrew
how
players.
we stole
Grant,
everyone when their coach?
Yeah. So it could
Where
be
did most of those boys go?
it could be a lot worse for them than it actually is. But Sandoval and Sotirio as well. That's a big one. It's not the biggest, but it is a big one.
They're keeping piss.
But they got Piscopos. He's good. They lost Hooper, McGarry, Bozanovsky, Mogg, and Ott. That's like
a few of those big names though didn't really feature too much towards the end of the
Hooper,
season.
not bad. McGarry could have done better. Yeah, they've still got the core. However, they've lost their flair. That's what I feel.
Mark
They got the core,
Rudin.
they've
I
lost
think
the
Mark
flair.
Rudin had a much bigger clean out, to be completely honest. Hemed's gone from
But he came.
Western Sydney.
No, he left the season after though.
Hemed.
he left both those clubs.
He's at Wellington, dude.
He was, but he left to go to West Sydney.
Yeah, now he's left West Sydney.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
he's left Western Sydney. That's
I thought you were talking about Mark Rudin at Wellington.
Mark Rudin's
Yeah.
just had to deal with another clean out at Western Sydney this time. So he's got Hemed now. Hemed's gone. So
But you look at these teams that are doing clean out. Wellington's a surprising one because they had a relatively good season. But the other ones you expected, Sydney, older team, they needed to change things up. Sydney,
just quickly,
not good.
Valentino Yule also been.
He's a big one.
Bring him
We
back.
need him back.
Bring him
Bring
back.
him home.
Bring him home.
He's been cut, and honestly, wouldn't surprise me seeing him
At West Sydney
definitely picking up Western Sydney
with Rudes. I believe that. I think there's a few ex-Rudin kids on the cards for West Sydney next season.
Yeah,
I
100%.
believe there's a few of them.
Better not touch Skatardis. Don't even look at him, Rudes.
No, that's not one. I believe there's a few others though.
Yeah, I can't find the list, but they've lost heaps. Hemed's gone, which he was good. I don't think he
was
did as
better
much
for
as
Wellington though.
Yeah.
Better for
But they had so many issues. Like they were just Jets light for most of the season, and they got Rudan in.
Yeah, I don't know how Margush has stayed, but their keeper,
Yeah.
but they've kept their first choice keeper for now. So
That's not bad.
Yeah.
look-
I don't have anything else, guys. This is a very long podcast. Do you guys want to?
Carded?
Do you guys have any cards?
I got red cards for anyone that doesn't come to the. If you call yourself a Western fan and you don't come down to the granny, that's a red card.
Yeah. That's also a red card of mine, but a red card to Tyrone Mings because he's shocking. He should not make the World Cup.
And tickets aren't expensive to the game on the weekend. The cheapest adult ticket is a Category D, which is $40 for an adult, $100 for a family, 2 adults, 4 juniors. Like it's pretty.
Can't even go to the
affordable.
movies for $100.
You can probably
For a
find your
family.
way into the crew with those tickets as well.
Yeah, we'll let you in. Provide you in the good colours. But yeah, come one, come all. We're all accepting of West United family at the pre-game in the away bay. Let's have some fun. Let's put our stamp on this season.
Yeah.
Any other final comments?
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Just let's do it.
Get the fuck in.
Yeah.
All West, aren't we?
All West, aren't we?
West, aren't we?
All West, aren't we?
No
Is
jokes.
Epstein? No Epstein
No
jokes?
jokes. All West, aren't we?
He'll be back after we win the final.